Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Too Opinionated. I'm so excited today. I've got actress, singer, songwriter, model, teacher, Anna Hindman. So welcome, Anna.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
You've been so patient. So I had to frantically send you a message to say the power went out. I was going to need a few minutes for it to get back on, but thankfully it was only a few minutes, but appreciated your patience.
Absolutely.
So, Anna, I was really excited to speak with you because I think you've got a really cool backstory. So let's start there a little bit. Talk a little bit about what made you interested in kind of the entertainment business, and how did you go about getting into that?
Yeah, so I've kind of always known, I know that sounds so cliche, but it's really my first memory is just wanting to perform in any capacity. And my dad is a musician and artist, so I was really lucky to grow up around the arts. And when I was 6, I did my first official professional gig, and it was a local power company commercial. And
Nice.
My dad came with me, and it was just a bunch of sitting around basically all day, but I thought it was so much fun. And on the car ride home, my dad said that I looked up at him and I was like, I want to do this every day. And so that's just kind of informed my whole life. I grew up in Connecticut, and I started to do community theater as soon as I could, which was 4th grade. And my parents have always been very supportive. My mom volunteered for the community theater every summer and would make costumes and pull costumes from the different costume closets. And so I really started with a love of theater just because it was so accessible. It was more accessible than film and TV in Connecticut, at least. It's so close to New York with Broadway and everything. So when I graduated high school, I went to college in Connecticut for musical theater. And once I graduated, I was like, okay, now that I've been able to do musical theater and theater, I really, really would like to try film and television. So I went to Los Angeles. I kind of just went head first, didn't know anybody. And I moved out there in around 2016, I think. And I originally moved in to an artist hostel. So it was bunk beds. It honestly,
I think I've seen this movie.
Yes, I was just gonna say it should be a movie. They should be on MTV, for some reality show for this. Could you imagine? I mean, I lived it, but can you imagine 25 different artists in Los Angeles just living together and all of the craziness that ensues with that?
Well, yeah, artists they're kind of eclectic and a little different anyway. And then and every artist, musician, actor, everyone I've ever met is always a little bit unique. So if you had a couple dozen and they're all this kind of unique personality, I don't know. For me, I might have trouble with that because I like a routine. But my wife, who is very artistic, that would probably be her dream house.
Yes. It's for me, it was a dream because I am, I think, more like your wife, more eclectic and ready to just experience the craziness of everybody. And so you would wake up in the morning and there'd already be people outside writing songs or cooking up these crazy beautiful meals and filming something in the living room. It was just nonstop creativity. And as absolutely crazy as it was probably the best thing to happen to me to stumble upon this place as my first place to live, because all of those people that I met, most of them, probably 75%, I still talk to them. And I've been so lucky to see their careers grow, because that was almost 6 years ago now, almost exactly 6 years ago. And so to see the trajectory of all those other artists' careers and to have been able to support them, go to their shows, help them out with being crew for their short films. And then they in turn would help me out. And it was just such a beautiful community. And probably the reason that I stayed in Los Angeles so long was making those friends and having that community. Because once I moved out of that little hostel, I still kept those friends, and it was just a really good support system. So yeah.
That's really unique. I think that's actually really cool. So when you say hostel, I'm thinking everybody sleeping in one room. Is that what happened?
Yeah. It was yeah. So it was like bunk beds, but so the place that I was in, it was like a duplex basically. So it was one side, they separated it by gender. So like one side was the girls. We had like a separate entrance, and then the other side was the guys, and there were 4 rooms on each side. So there was like 1 or 2 bunk beds in each room. So it was there was a lot of us, but it was fun.
Younger me might have liked that. That might have been.
Yeah.
It's kind of like going to camp, but all the time.
Yes. And I think that first, like, I think I experienced like a Christmas while I was living there, and my gift to myself was a hotel room far away from any people. Like it was the first Christmas I ever spent absolutely alone, but I was so happy to just like find some peace and quiet.
Yeah, that's the part that would I think would get hard at times, is because sometimes you need that alone time. So that part would be a little difficult.
Yes.
But what an experience.
Yeah. And then I did move out, and I had a great time in LA. I was there for a few years, and then just kind of got tired of being so far from my family because they're all on the East Coast. So yeah.
So back you went.
Yep.
When you did the commercial for the power company, did you get to skip school for the day to go to the commercial?
I did. Yes.
Now I understand
so much
why
fun.
you wanted to do that every day.
Yeah, you're right. This all started with me just wanting to skip school.
Yeah. I get it now. So when you're in high school and up through college, you're doing theater. I'm assuming you were singing, doing like musicals, that type of thing.
Yes, almost everything that I did up to that point was musicals.
Yeah. Do you play an instrument?
I do. I play guitar. I have some guitars hanging up behind me on my wall.
I wasn't even paying attention. Yeah, of course you do. Yeah, very nice.
No, I was blocking it. But yeah, I play guitar, and I play like just some basic chords on the keyboard.
Yeah, that's really good. So at what point did you decide to kind of venture into making your own music?
I have almost always been some sort of like writer or songwriter, and I have like journals from when I was really, really young, with like very cheesy lyrics, like fifth grade, sixth grade, like, and I would, oh my gosh, I just remember this. I would ask my 5th grade teacher if I could stand in front of the class. And it's like so embarrassing. If I could stand in front of the class and sing these songs that I wrote. And I apologize deeply to all my classmates back in the day, because that must have been quite an experience. But yeah, it started when I was pretty young. My dad plays guitar, so he bought me my first guitar and taught me how to play. And it has kind of just been like that since I can remember.
Yeah. It sounds like your parents were very supportive of the artistic endeavors.
Absolutely. I can't even say how lucky and grateful I am just for their endless support. Like, when I wanted to go see American Siege, the movie that just released, I went with my mom in Florida, and she was just like bawling her eyes out at the end of the movie. And I look over and she's crying and I'm crying. And it's really felt like an accomplishment for all of us, because they've been with me every step of the way.
That's terrific. That's terrific. Is American Siege, let's talk a little bit about it. Is that your first, like, let's say, movie role?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
pretty great. Mm-hmm. So it stars, or it has, Bruce Willis in the cast.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think it's supposed to work that way. I don't think the first, big role you get is supposed to be, with a big name star. That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm still in shock and in denial, but extremely grateful.
So how did the role come about?
So I got a message that they were looking for someone. I happened to know someone that was working on it, and they let me know that they were looking for a lead actress. And so this was during the pandemic, and I don't know what happened with casting, but it seemed the whole thing had been cast and they were just looking for a lead actress. And at this point, I had no idea it was a Bruce Willis movie. I just knew that I was sending in a self tape for a character that was really cool. And so I did my self tape, I sent it in, and then I heard back that they were going to pass on me because this would have been my first movie. And they just weren't, the producers didn't really know if I could handle it, and rightfully so. And so I kind of just went on with my life. I'm a teacher as well. And so I was, teaching my kids, making my lesson plans. And then I get a phone call and it's the director, and he's like, how soon can you be in Georgia? And that was when I found out it was also a movie with Bruce Willis in it. And it was just, I think I blacked out. I was like so excited and just shocked. So
who was the first person you called?
Well, I was sitting next to my wife, so she was there for the whole thing. But the first person I called was my mom.
Okay. That's good.
Yes.
They were supporting. You
Yes.
got to call mom and dad. That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about, what's the movie about?
Yes. American Siege is a action mystery movie that has a lot of family undertones in it. So my character, her name is Grace Baker. Her sister went missing 10 years ago. And so all Grace wants is answers. So she basically starts this answer seeking mission. She's driven, no matter the cost, she's going to find out what happened. And so, that love of her family, it just pushes her and drives her through the whole movie. And she's there with her brother and Bridget, her sister's ex-boyfriend. And so they're all trying to figure out what happened. And Bruce Willis plays the sheriff. And so he's we've taken someone hostage and he's trying to negotiate that situation. And then some more big players come in around the town who are kind of pulling some strings and puppet masters in a way. And so there's a lot of dark themes and just this underlying through line of family and love that is really great.
This sounds like a movie I would enjoy.
I love it.
Yeah, it sounds pretty good. That sounds pretty good. So when you get the call and okay, so I'm going to be in this movie and I'm opposite Bruce Willis, what is that first few days like? How do you prep to get ready for that role?
That's a great question because I was given less than 12 hours notice to be on set.
Is that good or bad? Like part of me thinks maybe that's good because then you can't stress out about it, but then you're going in, it's tough to be prepared in 12 hours.
I agree with you that it was a good thing. I think I would have just been too nervous and anxious thinking about it for like weeks on weeks or, a month or so. So the fact that it did happen so fast, I kind of had no choice but to be like, all right, this is it. I'm getting in gear. I am gonna go in guns blazing and just do my best. But it was pretty daunting to get on set the first time because, it was the first time that I was a lead in this capacity on a major motion picture. So that also, I didn't want to, overstep any boundaries. Like there's some set etiquette that you have to adhere to. And so, I'm used to being an extra. And so it's like, you see Bruce Willis walk by, you're not sure if like you're allowed to say hi, like good morning. But all of my fears were quickly diminished when we just started shooting, and Bruce Willis is just such a professional, and he turns it on right away and made me feel so comfortable. And there was just, like you said, there's no time to really like second guess or overthink it. So it was really just like all-wheel drive going in.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Did you get a chance to talk with Bruce any? Did he give you any acting advice?
I did get a chance to talk with Bruce. We didn't really talk too much about acting. He is mostly just a very like down to earth, like wants to have like a chit chat kind of guy. He was constantly like making jokes on set. The first conversation we had, I think, was about the camo leggings that I had. I was like, he was like, oh, those are cool. And I was like, oh yeah, I might try to like steal them later. Like, so just fun chit chat with him. He was just so nice. And there was this time on set when we were all sitting, you know, on the chairs back there, and a kitten like jumped up on him, and he was just like so sweet. And you don't expect like Bruce Willis kitten to like be in the same sentence.
But true. I would not put those two together. Maybe like a big dog, maybe.
Yeah, totally. Like a Rottweiler. Yeah.
Did you have to, you know, it's an action movie. Did you have to do any of your own stunts? Did you have to do any type of special training to get ready? I mean, you only had 12 hours, but did they run you through anything, you know, stunt wise?
I did. That was my favorite part. That was so much fun. So we had a really fantastic stunt coordinator, Bobby Lanen, and I didn't know that there was going to be any stunts or anything. I figured there would be some sort of action because, you know, you've got Bruce Willis, you've got this great script. And so I came onto set one day and he was like, all right, we're choreographing a fight scene for you. And I was like, great, here we go. And we spent maybe 1 hour-ish just blocking it, slowly going through it, trying to figure out what angles we needed and what motions we needed to really like sell and make it look like something was really happening, or what could we get with the camera angles. So that was a cool process for me to see, because I've done stage combat with theater, but I've never done like combat on film. So that was a cool process. And I got to work with Joey Monroe. I got to beat him up. He was a good sport about it, but that was my favorite part. And also, this is something so little, but I also really enjoyed it. I got to drive on camera, which
very nice.
Yeah, I was a little scared about that. I was driving too slow and I was like, I wasn't catching up with the camera, and they were like, you can go faster. And I was like, all right, here we go.
What were you driving?
I was driving like a Chevy truck. It was, it was just a fun little Chevy truck.
Well, so the next day after your little stunt action, were you sore?
Yes, I was going to say that too. Because also this was during the pandemic and all of the gyms were closed. And so and this is where I think it was such a blessing that it happened so quickly and I didn't have too much time to prepare, because I usually kind of will beat myself up about being like, all right, I have to like do 10 miles, not 10 miles, do a mile, like do this, like, and I think I would have put a lot of pressure on myself to do that for this film. But because I wasn't really able to, I was able to see how far my body can really take me and my strength can take me. And it was like really empowering. And so that was a really cool thing to come out of it as well.
It could be more realistic on camera too. You know, whereas if you train for something and stuff, you know, maybe it's where if you're just a normal person and this stuff happens to, or you fall into it, you know, maybe it would be kind of hard. And that would, you know, if you didn't train for it, I think that might show better. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that my character Grace, like she probably wouldn't have access to like a Equinox or like something like some crazy fancy gym. So I could imagine her like Rocky style in her garage, just getting things.
Did you get a montage? Like a fight montage?
No, that, you know what? Next film.
Yeah.
That's next time. I would have loved that.
Yeah, I know we all suffered so much with COVID, but here in West Virginia, you know, they shut down the gyms. So you immediately go online, try to buy exercise equipment. You couldn't find it anywhere, nowhere. So I was like, okay, we'll go to the track. We'll run at the track. Well, then they shut the tracks down. And, you know, and you're thinking, yeah. So then you're thinking, okay, well, I can do this for a couple of weeks. No big deal. I'll just take it easy for a few weeks, but then it's stretched and stretched and stretched. And then eventually you're just like, I guess I'm getting fat. This is it.
Like, this is what the world wants. Here we go.
I fought as long as I could.
I made the effort.
Yeah, I guess you could use that as an excuse, but I don't know how long. I don't know how long that would last.
Very true. I think I've also been grateful to be able to be more active now that things are kind of, yeah. So grateful with that. I love the story with this movie, and I think it's kind of a unique angle into the missing person. You know, look for it because you're a sister, so you got the family connection. You're looking for your sister, and then you bring in, you know, a sheriff that you don't know exactly what his motives are. And, you know, and I think it would be, I haven't seen it yet, but it sounds like you've got a little bit there where you're trying to figure out exactly, you know, what's going on, who actually caused it, you know, who's on what side. I don't know. Sounds pretty good to me. Definitely. Yeah. There's a lot of, maybe this is what happened. No, wait, maybe this is what happened. Yeah. Like that kind of thing.
It sounds twisty a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So where is it available? Where can we watch American Siege?
So it's available. I know it's at Redbox, either the little kiosk or on the app. Mm-hmm. There's also Amazon Prime, iTunes, and Google Play. And it was in theaters as a limited release, but I'm not sure if it is still there.
Did you get to do a red carpet?
I did not. We did not do a red carpet. I know.
That's not right. Did you tell them it was your first big movie?
I think by the end, I had gotten comfortable enough to be like, this is really exciting.
The plan is to watch in our studio this weekend. So we like to do our own little premiere. So we'll invite, you know, the family and different people over, and we've got enough room for about 15 to 20 people, still a little bit spaced out. So we try to do that. So that's the plan. That's our movie for this weekend. So if you want us to roll a carpet out, if you want to come down, we'll make it a big deal.
Perfect. How far? I don't know. What is that? A 7-hour drive? Great.
Yeah. You could totally do it. You probably want to leave early because we're going to do it early afternoon.
Okay. Yeah. So maybe like 3 a.m. I'll leave here.
3 a.m. Come in, walk the carpet, stick around for, you know, at least the beginning, and then you can hit the road again.
There you go. Will there be popcorn?
There will absolutely be popcorn.
Sold. Done.
That's the best. When we got the studio, and we were like, you think we would be like, oh great, we're going to be able to podcast still. I said, none of that. We were like, we are going to have the best movies. So, you know, we got
priorities.
We got the you know, the big tub full of the movie candy. You know, we got stuff to make popcorn. We put it in a refrigerator. We're ready.
That, you sound prepared. I'm impressed.
Yeah, it's pretty good. But that's our plan for the weekend, because it's you know, just the right type of movie to where a large group, that'll be fun.
I'm excited. Thank you for watching it. That's awesome.
Of course. We wanted to do it last weekend, and we had a run of illness come through some of the family. Wasn't COVID, but but there
Oh
were still
no.
several that were sick. So we're like, we'll wait. We'll give it a week.
Yeah.
Let everybody, because everybody wants to be there.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Oh.
perfect. So well, let me ask you this. What grade and subject are you teaching?
So it's 7th grade science.
Oh, very nice.
Yes.
What kind of reaction did you get with your class and just with the school as a whole?
So when I was working at a different school when I shot American Siege. And so I kind of told some of the kids, like I had 4 different classes, and I think I told like one of the classes, and then I was like, because they wanted to see it. And I was like, I don't think that this is going to be rated PG. So
you are not old enough.
So exactly. So I was like, do I tell my students? So I would preface it. I'm like, you need to ask your parents if you're going to see this. Like your parents need to watch this first. But like, yes, I'm in this film. And like, it's so funny because the school that I most recently am at, I had told the kids about it and they were like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. And then every once in a while, like they won't talk about it at all. And then just out of the blue, in class, they'll be like, Mrs. Hindman, is the movie you're in called American Siege? And I'm like, we weren't even talking about that.
Well, that's exciting. That's a big deal. You know, if I was in school and my teacher was in a movie, I'd be like, that's all right. I want to see. That would be a movie, you know, back in the 80s when I was growing up, we snuck into all the R-rated movies. That would be a movie I'd be sneaking into.
I wouldn't condone it to my kids, but it sounds kind of fun.
Sounds kind of fun. How, when did you film the movie? Were you filming it back during the COVID stuff, or has it been more recent than that?
It was in November 2020. So
it was right after.
Yeah, it was like about the time when things were starting to try and come back. We had COVID testing every day. We had like an on-set COVID medic. And so before we were even allowed to go onto set, we would stop at a little like checkpoint and get our COVID test and then head off to set. And we all wore masks. And since I had like scrapes that they had to put on for makeup, I got one of those super cool shields.
The shield,
yeah. So I look like an alien.
You were one of the cool kids, I know.
Oh yeah.
When did your family watch it?
They watched it when it was released. So my mom watched it for the first time with me in theaters in Florida. And as I said, there was a lot of tears. How
did she handle it though? Because obviously you got a little banged up in the movie. You know, if that was my daughter, I would, even though I know it's fake, it would bother me a little bit.
Yeah. You know, she didn't say anything about that. I wonder though, like if my parents have just been expecting to see something like that, you know, like
they knew what you were getting into.
Yeah, exactly. And especially like I grew up acting and, you know, musical theater is a little less action packed, but
yeah, that's pretty awesome. So what, you know, is there a genre after this that you would like to try? Do you want to stay in action or do you want to switch to something different?
So I do really love action, but I think my ultimate goal is to be in like dark, realistic TV and film, where I get to tell stories of the anti-hero, because I absolutely loved playing Grace Baker, and I think she's a great anti-hero. And so being the anti-hero is a lot of fun because I think that they have these really good intentions and their motives are, I think, understandable because maybe they had some dark and troubled past, or, you know, there's someone that they're trying to protect, but they might not go about it in the best way morally. But there's just like
relatable.
Yes. Yeah. And as an audience, like there's that tension of being like, oh, like I understand why she's doing this, but like it's not great, but it kind of is.
So I think you need to start a YouTube channel.
Okay.
And you'll be Grace Baker. You dress up as Grace Baker, maybe with the scrapes and everything, and it'll just be Grace interacting normally in situations in life. So it'd be like Grace getting coffee and going shopping, but you have to have all the scrapes and everything set up. You have to be in character. That. Yeah. I would watch that channel.
I might do that.
You should do that.
I think even just like doing one as an experiment would be like very freeing for me to do.
Yeah.
I think I will give you credit. I'll be like,
just a special
you heard it here. Yeah. You heard it here first on the Too Opinionated podcast.
That's
folks.
Right. Can't you see like Grace working a drive-through window with her face all scraped up and everything?
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
I
think we're on.
I love that. I think we are too. I'll call up Ed Drake and also let him know that we've got some material going for American Siege 2. Like,
yeah, we're going to keep it going.
Yeah, for sure.
Is it possible that we'll get a sequel?
A lot of people have said to me that, and I won't spoil anything for you, but it seems like there's an open ending to it that could possibly lead to American Siege 2. And I love Grace Baker. Like, I think that, and like you said, Grace Baker getting coffee, Grace Baker working the drive-through. Like,
I'd watch that.
I think she has some more stories to tell.
Like, you could be Grace just answering the door when UPS dropping off a package. I don't know. There's so many possibilities.
Yeah.
And don't you think American Siege, if you do a movie named American Siege, it should just automatically come with a sequel? I mean, that title just screams sequel.
Yes, I agree.
That sounds like the best movies from the 80s and 90s that you would go see.
I fully agree with that. And I will shout it from the rooftop because I think, American Siege 2, I think we're onto something.
Do you get to punch or kick Bruce at any time?
I do not.
Oh.
But American Siege 2, we could.
That's right.
I think maybe Bruce and Grace, he's Ben Watts in American Siege, but I think a sequel with Ben and Grace kind of like kicking butt and taking names, like he has now gone to her side or something, and they're just could
be good.
They're working the drive-through together.
Or maybe he's retired from the police force and you open a detective agency.
I love it.
Yeah. I'm an idea guy. I couldn't do anything to help you, but I'll throw them out there.
And we're just spitballing. I think it's good. We need ideas,
We're workshopping.
That's where it all starts. Yeah, we're workshopping.
So I know you sing as well. Did I see that you recently had a single that was released?
Yes, I released that in July 2021. And that's actually under my maiden name. So it's under Anna Morse, like Morse code, on Spotify. So it's called Dislove. I wrote it 2 years ago now with a musician and producer. His name is Kit Nolan in Nashville. Yes. And so it was our first co-write together, and we kind of just started talking about like toxic relationships and the different sides to them and how they're not really black and white. And that's where we came up with Dislove.
What's the genre?
It's like pop country-ish. Like it's got kind of a Maren Morris flair to it.
Very nice. Very nice. Yeah, you've got a beautiful voice. I mean, it's terrific. You. Will you be releasing more music?
Hopefully, yes. Definitely got that on the mind. Hopefully with Kit as well, because we've done a few co-writes since then that we are excited about.
Can we get Grace Baker singing?
I could imagine her like in a really broken down karaoke bar. I think that would be her spotlight.
You know what would be really good for American Siege 2? at some point, Grace in the movie, Grace actually is in a karaoke bar and somebody's singing your song.
That would be such a meta like moment.
It's like an Easter egg.
It is like an Easter egg. Actually, yeah. I think Ed also, so he directed American Siege, and he also directed a new film out called Gasoline Alley. Actually, it's not out yet, February 25th.
Yes,
Gasoline
who is
Alley.
In Gasoline Alley, because I've heard about this one.
Yes, Devon Sawa, Luke Wilson, and Bruce. And yeah, and so there is American Siege Easter eggs in that, I have been told. So
really?
Yeah.
Oh, everybody loves Easter eggs.
Mm-hmm. How could you not?
How could you not? So has being in this movie, especially so early on kind of in your acting career, has that helped you with opportunities since then?
Yes, I would say now it's starting to kind of get some traction now that there's been a release, and also now that things are starting to come to life again after, well, not after the pandemic, but after the beginning of the pandemic. I think things are starting to open up more productions are going on, and I think auditions have sort of shifted now to a more online presence with things and those self-tapes. And so I think now people have started to get a hang of that, and it's right. Kind of just an industry standard. And so I recently signed on with a new talent manager, which is really exciting. I absolutely love them. They are just really fantastic. And I've got a really great team now, which would not have been possible without American Siege. And so I have this team of people that are really genuine and great. And I feel so confident having them like in my corner. And so I'm excited to push forward and see what kind of opportunities that hopefully brings in the future.
Yeah. And I mean, that's amazing. Did you ask Bruce if you could use him as a reference?
I did not. That was a missed opportunity. I should have.
You should have come on earlier. I could have given you some advice here.
It sounds like it. I could have just typed something up like Anna Hindman is fantastic and been like, Mr. Willis, please sign here.
Please sign here. I already wrote it for you. Just sign.
Yeah.
If I was produced, let's say I'm making a movie and somebody that's auditioning brings in references from Bruce Willis. I've been You think most of them would be like, who is this bozo? But not me. I'd be like, now this one has some initiative.
Yeah. Like, this is the business proposition that I was waiting for.
That's right. Does anybody else have references from Bruce?
Right.
I don't think so.
Yep. I think it puts you just a step above.
I think it does too. Yeah, I'm so excited to see the movie. And I was doing my research before we came on, and just in prepping the press and the comments, from people that have seen the movie, really good. And your performance has gotten really good reviews. I mean, that has to feel terrific.
Yeah, that I think has been the weirdest part. Most everything else that I've done up until now hasn't gotten a lot of views from people other than my family and friends. And so to hear that positive feedback exactly. I was going to say it was validating. And, I try not to let other people's opinions sway me too much, but I do have to say, like, it is really nice to see like the positivity and support from people who've seen it.
Yeah. I think that's so terrific. Do you have a desire or have you thought about at some point going back and doing more theater?
That's a really great question. Actually, I listened to your episode with Caitlin Houlihan, and and just hearing about her experiences with theater and musical theater, it reminded me just how much I do love it. And so I would love to do it again in the future. definitely focused on TV and film right now because I have such a passion for that.
Right.
But
Right.
if there are opportunities in the future for theater, whether I seek them out or they maybe just happen to be there, I would be so happy.
Yeah, that's pretty great. Do you have a preference of, between, say, movies and television, or does it matter?
I would say I would love to be a series regular on a television show, like a dark television show like Ozark or Westworld. That would be my absolute dream. Just because you get to experience that character a little bit more fully in a way, like you have that huge arc throughout the seasons, hopefully, and you get to really experience a journey as that character. And I would love to be able to work on something like that.
How about one of the old school teenage slasher type movies where you're a teacher trying to solve, what's going on because it's happening to students in your class?
I love that. You have the best ideas like this.
I don't know about that.
No, this is so fun. I could totally see that. And also I love the old school slasher vibe of kind of movie things. So I could totally get behind that.
Yeah. Because then, you get the chance to fight the bad guy at some point. You're going to come up against but you're emotionally attached because it's happening to your class. And you know how those movies go. For some reason, you keep having class.
Yeah, yes.
You know what I mean? Because if it happened in real life, they would not be having class until they figured out what was going on. But in the movie, they just keep having class and people just keep disappearing.
Yeah, it's like little Johnny just disappeared last night, but your math homework is still due. So
it's like, can I go to the restroom? In the movie, you'd be like, sure, go ahead. Even though like 2 or 3 kids already disappeared doing that. Yes. But okay.
It's like, oh yeah, what's the worst thing that could happen?
Oh shoot. I actually do think that's a pretty good idea.
I agree. Also, I could also see that as like kind of a parody as well. I don't know if you've seen or heard about that new Netflix show. It's called like The Girl in the House. Yeah, with Kristen Bell.
It was so funny. And it is. It's such a spoof.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I can imagine like a spoof, like a
slasher
movie. Yeah, slasher, a spoof slasher like that.
Oh, we could totally do that.
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
There's so many streamers and options out there now. I think we could pitch that to somebody.
I agree. Yes. And then Grace Baker could have a cameo.
Oh, Grace Baker has to be in the movie. But it has to be like, you have to be the teacher, but then you also have to play Grace, as a totally different character. And we won't explain it, that why you guys look kind of similar. We won't
great. Yes, I totally agree with that. She could be like the janitor or something. Like, and like we just don't say anything about the fact that like we're twins, basically. No. Like she has scratches all over her face.
Absolutely, do not explain any of it. I'm loving this. And so you write songs. Could you write this script?
Yes. So I love writing script as well. And I wrote this short film that I was really grateful to be able to produce. And one of my best friends, Heather Ballish, she produced and directed it with me. It's called Breadwinner. It's just a really short film.
Oh, right. I wanted to ask you about that. What is that about?
Yeah. So that is about, so it's a couple and they have like a baby, but they're going through like some financial issues. And basically it's the one girl who I play, she's a stay-at-home mom and also an artist. And then her wife is like a businesswoman, has like a good job, and they are struggling financially. And my character is like, I should just go back to work. Like, we need to make money, but childcare is like expensive. Like,
Of course.
I don't know. It was very inspired by the fact that I was pretty broke in Los Angeles.
Yeah, that's a common theme.
Yeah. So my character, this part is not inspired by true events, but my character decides to start escorting. And so it's like the big secret that she has and we think that she's cheating on her wife. But actually she's trying to make some extra money.
She's trying to be the breadwinner.
Exactly.
Do you run lines and practice with your wife?
For American Siege.
Yeah, for anything that you're getting ready to act in, does she help you prepare?
She does. So she's actually in the Army, and my character, Grace Baker, was supposed to be ex-military. And so I like talked with her a little bit about that.
Nice.
And she was like, make sure you don't hold the gun wrong. I was like, okay,
yes.
Good advice.
Yeah, I won't say who it was, but I spoke with an actress, and she was explaining that whatever, she played a police officer, but she had never fired a gun. And so she held the gun incorrectly when she was supposed to be shooting, but they filmed her doing it that way. So then she had to keep doing it the wrong way the whole shoot, because they already, it was a lower budget. They didn't have the money to refilm the stuff.
Right.
But then after that, she had to go back and actually learn proper way to hold a weapon. So she helped you out with that.
Yes.
You didn't embarrass the family by going on there like I would and just completely screw it up.
Yes, I don't think I embarrassed the family too much.
Very good.
But she also, my wife is incredible, and I have kind of twisted her arm into helping me act some things on TikTok.
Nice.
Yeah,
I'm very jealous that you're on TikTok, because that's a tough one for me. Like I've started to post some of the clips from the show on there, but doing actual skits and stuff, I'm very impressed with everybody doing that.
Yes, it took a little while to be like, all right, I'm just gonna go for it. Like, let's do this. I really love using like the trending sounds to make like little jokes, but actually like going on with like a script and doing a skit, that was a little daunting. But we did this Lesbian Christmas series, and it was like cheesy Hallmark, so it was like super cheesy, like the thing where it's like I hate Christmas, like I never want to like be in the Christmas spirit, and then like she ends up in Christmasville, and so she helped me out with that, and she was great. Yeah.
Are you writing them, or is she helping to write them as well?
She helps me write them, and she's a fantastic writer as well. We've also actually written songs together, and she's a great director. Like she's
really, we're bringing her on board for our little slasher food.
Perfect. She'll love that. She's got great ideas.
That's pretty good. So outside of teaching, acting, singing, what else do you like to do?
I like to ride motorcycles. That's something that my wife actually got me into. We love riding. So I love to ride motorcycles. I love film photography. Do you have the
gear for the motorcycles? Are you geared up? Or do you look like, your typical biker person that's wearing the Harley Davidson, the leather and that stuff?
Yes. Well, we ride Indian motorcycles. So we got our Indian gear.
Very nice.
Actually, I used to ride my motorcycle to work when it was warmer. And so the kids would be like, Miss Hindman, do you have your motorcycle today? It's just a lot of fun.
And you also do photography?
Yeah, I definitely dabble in it with like my film photography. When I was living in Los Angeles, I bought this like really cheap used film camera, and I just really love the idea of film that you only get one chance kind of to get your picture. And it taught me a lot of patience, because I can't just see the photo immediately. Like it
Right.
takes a few days to get it developed. And then even then you might have taken some pretty terrible photos that are, out of exposure or
you gotta
blurry.
you gotta wait to see it.
Mhm.
And then it may be bad anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm out. That's too much.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. I would say, I mean, the very first roll of film that I ever shot was completely blank because I just loaded it totally wrong. And that was very disappointing.
Well, yeah, that really would be, especially like if it was like you finish and you're like, oh, these are going to be great. And
that's how I felt.
Yeah.
It was humbling. It was a humbling experience.
Do you model as well?
Yes. Yeah. So when I first moved to Los Angeles, well, okay, let me back that up a little bit. When I was a senior in high school, I was like entered into this like modeling competition for seniors. And I was offered a modeling contract in Los Angeles. And so I would have had to move to Los Angeles and do that. And at the same time, I had gotten accepted into Western Connecticut State University for musical theater. And so I had this like decision to make. I was really not sure because I originally didn't think that I got into any college because I'm going to be honest, my high school years were not great. I didn't like school at all. And so I didn't think I got into college.
Kind of ironic that you're teaching now.
It is, but I love to like tell my kids that and be like honest. And I'm like, hey, like I understand, like you might not want to do your work right now. Like you would rather stay home than come to school, but I promise like this is worth it. It gets better. But yeah, I chose college because I also just really had such a passion for musical theater, but I continued doing little modeling things here and there. And in Los Angeles, I focused on that a lot. I did like some campaigns for different clothing brands, like little small businesses and different things like that. So yeah.
If you had decided at that time to come to LA, do you think things would have turned out different, or do you think you'd kind of be doing exactly what you're doing now?
I think things would have been a little bit different. I also just think that I needed to take some time to like grow as a person. Yeah. And I think that college really did that for me because like I said, my high school experience was pretty bad. Like I just dealt with a lot of like anxiety and depression. And I think if I had moved to Los Angeles across the country, like by myself, and like thrown myself into the industry at 18, I think it would have been a lot harder. And so I'm grateful that I did take the time to, have my college experience and do all that.
Yeah, that's pretty great. I should have mentioned that I've seen pictures of you as Grace and you look like a badass.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Like it's a little different look.
Yes. Yeah. It's much
like
different.
I wouldn't mess with Grace.
Yeah. I would not either.
No, Grace looks pretty tough, which would be why it would be hilarious to have her working the drive-through, maybe at the library.
Yes, I love it.
This is a YouTube channel. I think we got some work to do before we talk again. We got some stuff to do for sure. I know we got to wrap up, but do you do anything else artistic? Do you paint or pottery, anything like that?
No, my dad is the painter. I am definitely, I just have like no skills when it comes to drawing or anything. Stick figures, that's all I can do. But yeah.
I was never someone that loved school either, but the class that just absolutely I dreaded art class. I just absolutely
really
filled me with dread because I was just so bad.
Oh
no. So terrible. And I knew it, it was just, talk about anxiety. That was the class.
Mm-hmm. I can understand that. I could see that.
Well, Anna, thank you so much. This has been absolutely terrific. I can't wait to watch the movie. I was so disappointed I didn't get to watch it last weekend, but it'll be more fun with everybody.
I'm excited for you to see it. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll let
Thank
you know.
so much.
I'll let you know what we think.
Yeah, enjoy the popcorn too.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Are you a butter person? Do you butter it up?
Yes. Oh yeah. You got to have it like layers of butter too. Like you can't just have like one.
That's how my wife is too. And I admit it tastes better that way, but it's not as healthy.
Yes.
I try to just go with the salt. But yeah, that's how
true.
she does. She's got, like, when she makes her own, a little bit of popcorn, butter, a little bit of popcorn.
Yep.
That's how
she does. I like her. She's got the right idea.
I know. I think you guys would get along. I think so.
Yeah, I agree.
So a couple things before you go. Anything else that you're working on that we can kind of keep an eye out for?
So speaking of writing, I am developing a script called Daughter, and the main character finds out like a dark secret about her family, and it kind of just throws her for a loop. And yeah, it's like a dark mystery thriller kind of thing.
Love it. Are you have you done anything with it yet, or are you still finishing it up?
I'm still finishing it up. I've posted about it on TikTok a few times, and it's gotten, people are pretty interested on TikTok, and so it's like pushing me to like finish it and get
you
it.
Gotta finish that up. You got to finish that up. When you do, you got to come back and talk about it.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So last thing, where can we find you on all the social media?
So I mainly use Instagram and TikTok. So on Instagram, I am at it's Anna Hindman, and then for TikTok, it's .Hindman.
Oh, very nice. That one I wouldn't have thought of. That's good. It's creative.
Yeah.
Just
my name.
Yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad. Well, Anna, thank you so much. This has been an absolute pleasure, and thank you for hanging in there with me for a few minutes since we started a little bit late.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you, Michael. This is a lot of fun.
Oh, you're so welcome. Okay, hold on one second. Okay, so that was the talented Anna Hindman. I love her positivity, and I can't wait to watch American Siege. So do yourself a favor and check that one out. It's someone's talented when they land a starring role right off the bat. That just doesn't happen very often. So excited to see that. And just from the pictures and the little clips from the movie, she's amazing. She's amazing. And I know she's really talented. She's got a terrific voice. Sounds like she can really write too. So kind of a triple threat. And I bet she's a really good teacher too. How great for her classes that they get to be inspired by somebody that's not only teaching, passing on that knowledge, but is out there following their dream too and being successful at it. I admire that so much. Just terrific. Hope you guys enjoyed that episode. You keep coming back to us week after week, and we keep getting bigger. And I'm so appreciative of that, because there's about 1 billion podcasts out there. But I hope that we keep bringing you quality people, quality episodes. We're getting close to 350 now. So if you haven't done so yet, you could really help us out, especially on the YouTube side. So if you go to our YouTube channel, MeisterCon Pod, we'd really appreciate if you would subscribe. Would help us out so much. You can find all 350 or so episodes, audio and video, on our website, meistercon.com. There's a terrific, speaking of good writing, there was a terrific blog from Brett. It's my son he handles all the hard stuff with the podcast. He's doing all the editing. He's, setting up the lighting, does all that stuff. He's terrific. Absolutely just a wonderful writer. So you can check out his blog on meistercon.com. If we're doing anything in studio, like this weekend, where we're watching American Siege, that'll be on there. If we're doing anything on location, if we're covering conventions, anything like that, it'll all be on the website, meistercon.com. Thank you guys so much. Thanks to Anna. Until next time, bye, everybody.